G.G. Allin.
And I'm Merle Allin.
And we were the band the Murder Junkies, and we're out for revenge, and we're out to put danger back on the road and use our rock and roll as a weapon against society, the government, the industry, and anything that stands in our way.
We basically started playing with Gigi probably a couple of years ago as the Murder Junkies, and we've been with him ever since. We just finished recording a brand new album, and we'll be touring the middle of May until around the middle of June, all around the country.
But I mean, we're basically, I live on the road anyway, so I mean, life is just one big...
We started our last tour in February of '92. The tour lasted 6 shows, and in that time, Gigi was arrested twice. The last show was Austin, Texas, where he was arrested for indecent exposure and disorderly conduct.
Assault and battery.
And that stemmed from the show. But they decided to extradite him back to Michigan, where he had a warrant.
Yeah, I was on
outstanding warrant.
No, I was on
parole.
I was on parole at the time, and I just pretty much said "fuck you" to my parole agent. He had too many restrictions on me, and I just couldn't live by any sort of restrictions. So I gave him the big kiss off and went out on the road anyway. And we did 3 tours. I think we did about 32 shows. I think I got arrested about 12 or 13 times, and there was like cops at every show, and I ended up in a hospital. I mean, but that's, I mean, when you go on tour with me, I mean, you got to expect that you're all, you know, somewhere down the line you're going to be in jail more than a few times, and you're either going to end up in the jail or in the hospital. So it's not like we go on the road and it's some great luxury tour or anything. It's more like a fucking war.
We never expect to finish a tour when we started out.
Well,
anyway.
We barely expect to finish a show, but I mean, I don't care. I mean, I don't care if I don't finish a show, because if I fuck somebody up, or if we fuck the club up, or basically, if I can get my revenge and get the release out of me that I feel like getting out, then for me it's a successful show, because I'm not out to please anybody but myself. Well, we grew up in New Hampshire, and being as we're brothers, we tend, you know, there were a lot of times that you know, we were quite apart from one another, because I've always been the type of individual who never really liked to be around people anyway, like, you know, family or anything. I've always been alone. I've always been that sort of one-man army, you know, really hated people a lot. So, but we
hung out a lot with each other because we really didn't have that many friends, and nobody else really understood what we wanted to do.
So, you know, basically we never wanted to work, and music was like our revenge. And so what we would do is we would just steal or break into houses or sell drugs or whatever we could do to make any kind of money at all. And it was easy. We never got, well, we almost got caught a few times.
Caught a few times, but
I mean, it didn't matter, because I mean, it's just pretty much the way I feel now. I think violence is a very important thing, and I think if you want something, that you just got to take it. And, you know, I don't have time to waste on, you know, submitting a piece of paper or going to a protest rally. If I want something, I can just fucking take it, or I can, you know, hold you up or stick a gun in your face or whatever I got to do. And that's pretty much what we do on stage as well. I mean, I've had people on stage. I've held hostages on stage. I had a girl one time at knife point. I had a knife to her throat, and then I one time, I think in Connecticut, there was like a whole lot of these people that didn't want to pay to get in. It was this real preppy type of college. It really sucked. So we let them all in, and they thought, wow, well, we're getting into the show for free. And then I went out and beat the shit out of them and stole their money anyway. 3 years in prison. Basically, the whole time I was in prison, I was seeing psychiatrists, and they were trying to find out, you know, what made me be this person. And the whole time I was going, I would just build this wall around myself, like I've done throughout life, and I just blocked everything out, because, you know, I don't really personally care what anybody thinks about what I do, because it's not going to stop me from doing it. No amount of jail or prison time is going to stop me from being who I am.
As far as the punk rock scene,
yeah, I get a lot of letters from kids, you know, all around the world, but you have to sort out who's really in it for real and who's in it just because they think it's cool. And if they're in it just because they think it's cool, then, you know, they're not any friend of mine, and they don't believe in what I believe in. But there's a real hardcore following out there of people that want a revolution, that want to destroy the music industry, and the punk scene, to me, especially right now in the whole heavy metal thing, is pretty fraudulent these days. And you got a lot of bands putting on costumes, and you got a lot of bands, you know, saying things that they really don't believe because they think it's a thing to say. I mean, I've done this for 15 years, and this is how I look all the time. It's not that it's a very real thing for what we do. And I don't think that a lot of bands are putting their life into it. I think for a lot of them, they use the underground as sort of a stepping stone for the major label sellout with this big fucking so-called alternative label now. And it's basically all pretty fucking lame, and those are the people that I'd like to fucking kill. Somebody asked us the other day why we couldn't get a show in New York City, and it might have had something to do with the Space and Chase show that we did, back in '91, too?
Yeah, it was over 15 months ago. The show lasted 7 minutes, and there were
three police cruisers and 2 ambulances, and the cops came in and shut us down and have said none of the clubs in New York will touch us. But I mean, to me, it's all like these people in New York are more concerned about how they look and how many fucking people they can hold on to climb up the social ladder. And we're just not involved in that game at all. We're just, if I see a crowd of people and they're a bunch of trendy people, I'm just going to go up and fuck them up and just knock their fucking face, punch them right in the fucking face. And, because I just don't have time for that. If you can't make it on your own, you got to climb using somebody else, and you're obviously a fraud to begin with. So
I think this tour is going to be the most violent tour yet, and we're basically out to get everybody in our fucking way. And
we'd like to say to New York, why don't you give us a fucking show and not be so fucking lame? Fuck you.
Fuck you, New York.
It's up to you. Fuck you, New York.